Looks like we're live.
Hey,
What's up, guys? Everyone in the chat,
howdy,
welcome,
howdy.
welcome. How's it going, Tiger?
It's going all right. Going well. Good morning, Algo Prime Plus in the chat. How are you doing? Yeah, let us know if you guys are looking at any particular tickers. We can definitely check them out for you. Got a lot of U.S. data. Well, not just U.S. data, but Aussie, and I think New Zealand was on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
New
we
Zealand tonight, right? The official
yeah,
cash rate. Yeah, so that's going to be big for them.
sure is. Yeah, I'm going to project a 25 basis point cut back in. If you can flip over, we'll just take a quick look at that. Take a look at the calendar. Take a look at some top setup ideas. We'll have the U.S. data coming out during our stream, so we'll be able to
Yeah, 28 minutes. Oh, sorry, 28 minutes. Less than an hour from now.
less than an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll have a real
that's
live
going to be
look at that.
interesting. Let's see.
Yep. Yeah, the only trade I'm currently in from yesterday is still on the stock side. I
Mm.
did get into Procter and Gamble yesterday.
I was hearing that during the stream, actually, when what's his name was on.
Yeah,
Max
yeah,
7.
yeah. I mean, as far as currencies go, yeah, I didn't really have anything at the moment. Just kind of waiting on a few of these dollar pairs. But
Yeah.
yeah, taking a look at the economic calendar. Just to get a look at this real quick today. So yeah, like Richard said, here in about an hour, we'll get the producer price index for the U.S. retail sales as well, where they are projecting. Looks like the PPI to be a little bit on the higher side. So yeah, that if that comes out like that, that would be good for the U.S. dollar. But on the opposite end, the retail sales projecting a little bit lower, 0.2% less. So looks like we may get a little bit of mixed results. PPI regular is projected higher with the core. And then yeah, the sales. So both the core and the regular sales, they're both. So yeah, we may get a little bit of a volatility jump up, jump down, jump sideways, jump down, jump up, jump down, jump sideways. That's kind of the way the volatility works.
Now, I must
Typically,
say my options are a little bit thin this morning with regards
ah,
to trade setups or trade opportunities. So we'll see how things develop.
yep, yep, yeah. And then here, another hour and a half after that, we'll get some home sales data. See how people here in the States are doing as far as buying homes. I know they're getting quite expensive. It seems like, Richard, I see article after article about the American dream is dead. House ownership is a thing of the past. It's just getting too expensive for the young
Right,
people.
that is just everywhere. In South Africa
Yeah.
as well. It's just
Is it?
absolutely insane. Yeah, no, it's becoming unaffordable for most people. Really, really.
Yeah.
It's such a divide between your sort of middle class and upper class. And middle class can't afford anything these days. Now, not to speak about, lower income and so forth, but it's almost impossible to purchase a property these days. Values
Yeah.
keep on going up. So luckily we bought quite a few years ago, but we got a good price. Wiggled the guy a little bit to, come down in the ask price. But yeah, the value's gone up, but cheapers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, if I was in the market right now, then it would be nearly impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, that's just the reality of everything these days. It seems like inflation this, inflation that. Of course, you got the tariffs that obviously are changing some things around as well. So, hey, I heard something in a book I read a long time ago, and I don't remember the book, but it basically said, whenever we're faced with these issues, affordability issues and challenges, we just have to out earn the problem, Richard. So figure out a way to create. Obviously, that's what we're here for, right?
Learn
To
how to
learn to
trade, I
trade.
suppose, right? Because that's a skill they can't take away from you. So
Exactly.
that's one reason
Ex-
I've been doing it for ages, right? Apart from, just trying to make an extra income, is more like, something that I can learn and use as a skill going forth in my life. Anything could happen. You can lose your job. I don't know, medically something can happen with you, so you can't actually do physical work. So, it is a skill, obviously a rather difficult one to learn, I must say. But obviously, again, like Tiger said, that's why we're here to help you guys out. So We've been doing this for quite some time, and in days like these, in this type of economy, and it's globally, like I mentioned, it's obviously a great skill to have.
Yeah,
I
and
see it
look,
as a skill. I don't know if that's the right sort of terminology to use.
yeah, and look, you know, when I went into my trading classes almost 12 years ago, um, at the time I would have been, let's see, 30, 31, whenever I went through those classes. And almost every single person in that class with me, and I think we had 15 or 18 people, something like that, might have been 20. Almost every single one of them, guys, was in their 50s or older.
Yeah.
So,
That's a
whenever
common thread. That's definitely.
yeah, I was the baby of the group. I mean, there might have been one other person, maybe a couple years older than me, but
Mm,
for the most part, everybody in there was older, and that got me to thinking at that time, Richard, that I was in the right place because if this class is loaded with older people that and half of them were, when they ask us why are we here? What are we doing here? What do you want to learn? And half the people said that they're nearing the end of their work, their retirement. They're getting ready to retire and they have nothing. So
yeah,
they're trying to
and
figure
it's
out a way to.
unfortunately that stress that comes with that sort of I have to now learn to do something. It's
Right,
unfortunately not the right sort of mindset or space to be in, especially when you're starting to trade, right? It's a slow poison sort of vibe. You got to really take it slow and, work on your skills, your emotional control, all that stuff, which takes years
yeah,
to, try to master. And yeah, unfortunately, if you feel pressurized because you need the money, then that's just not the right
right.
approach,
I mean,
unfortunately.
they're still in the
But I
right place.
understand it. I understand it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're still in the right place, but all I got to say to that is, guys, if you're under 40, under 30, latch on to this skill because yourself 10, 20, 30 years from now will thank you. So it's a
Absolutely.
grind. It ain't easy. It sucks, downright sucks sometimes, but it's just like anything else in life.
Say
You
that
just gotta
again.
you gotta
It
put in
still
the work.
sucks sometimes, even after all these years.
Yeah. So you might as well just put in the work while you're younger, and it'll
Hmm.
definitely pay off 100-fold in the future. So, but
100%.
but yeah, and then like you mentioned, yeah, New Zealand later this evening here in the States anyway. That's when the cash statement comes out. 25
True.
basis point projected cut for New Zealand's dollar, and the lip flapping session to follow for their press conference. So that is a look at the calendar for the day. This is definitely going to be, I think, the busiest day this week. So yeah, because tomorrow we just have a couple things. We got that autumn forecast statement for the British pound to see how they're doing, and then U.S. unemployment claims, and then a couple other things to round up the week. Well, the GDP for Canada on Friday. So that's it, guys. Today's going to be probably one of the more volatile days. You got people trying to get in and out of the markets. You got
Yeah.
people that are going to be taking off tomorrow, especially here in the States. I mean, Thanksgiving for us is Thursday, but there's a lot of people that are typically, taking the day before off as well. So yeah, I can definitely see quite a bit of volatility today, maybe a little more tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before Thursday and Friday, it really thins out. It usually does for Thanksgiving and the day
On that
after.
note, Tiger, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
So, guys, it is Thanksgiving on Thursday, so most of the markets will be closed. Forex markets will be open though. So, we're going to have a Forex 5 session, same time, all right, on Thursday and on Friday, but there will be no futures sessions. I believe Coach Adelina will, however, also be on with us, not
Right.
obviously during the same time, during her time slot. So, go make sure that you go check her out as well. So, that will be on Thursday and Friday, no future sessions. And everyone in the chat, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. We'll start digging into the charts very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, ladies and gents, it looks like we do have our winners
Ah,
from yesterday's piece. A couple Forex accounts, 5K Forex accounts, and I do believe we
that's
have a
right.
25K futures account
That's right.
winner as well. So we can definitely announce those names back in if you're ready to roll on that.
Let's do it. I
We'll
believe they
just
are
get
ready.
we'll get a little bit of a drum roll. And let me take a look at the names. Yeah. Get over here to
Give us
my.
some fireworks back in.
And the winners are. Where are they at?
Do you want me to read them or do you see them?
No, I was waiting for the graphic. Dinosaurus 69. Not a bad number, not a bad name. 4X 5K winner. And then we also have Jesse Gilmeet. And hopefully I pronounced that right. I try because everybody's name is important. But Jesse Gilmeet, another 5K account winner. And then I do believe we have a 25K futures winner, which is Sire Mamat. I remember that name.
Yes, I do as well from the chat.
From our early sessions that we used to have. So, Sire, congrats on that. But yeah, there you go. Simple as that. And I do believe we have. Let me see. Am I announcing for today as well? I know I heard.
Yeah, no, well, we still have the giveaways going, right? So if you guys look at the screen in front of you, or to all our viewers, there's a QR code. You can go ahead and basically scan that. Right. And then you go to our Discord channel and you enter that password there, contracts. All right, so that is a password with your name and email, I believe. And then that's how you'll enter for tomorrow's draw. So we'll then announce tomorrow's winners again, as we're doing right now. So that's how the guys did it yesterday. So congrats from our side, everyone at Hello Prime, to yesterday's winners.
And just exactly like it shows there, guys and gals, for today's entrance, just make sure to type in the word contracts, followed by your email, and then followed by the word Forex, okay?
Very important. So there we go.
You have those three pieces of information is key. So, if you didn't win yesterday's drawing, just go do it again today. Hey, we got multiple days in this week, so let's see who can come out tomorrow and celebrate.
Also, I think if you can't scan the QR code, we had a few people that couldn't do that yesterday with their phone. You can just join our Discord channel as well, and then you go over to the Discord. What is that channel? Trade secrets.
It's going to be Trade Secrets.
# Trade Secrets channel. And then you just basically in the chat they go and pop in that password. Again, today's password, contracts, followed by your email and Forex. Okay.
# Trade Secrets. Sounds like a traders convention. Sounds like the name of a hotel on the coast of Mexico. Trade Secrets. There is a hotel named Secrets in Cancun because I've been there. It's a really nice place. And by the way, whenever you go on like trips to a beach somewhere, you got to get the all-inclusive. Got to get the all-inclusive resort. That's the only way to go. You pay once, and then you can just get whatever the hell you want the whole time you're there. You don't have to pay extra. That's the best. Now, you might have a headache or two, over the course of that 3 days after, but all-inclusive. That's the way to go. So anyway, congrats again to everybody. Once again, for tomorrow's entry, the password contracts, your email address, updated email address, by the way. Make sure it's updated. And then the word Forex, Forex, and you'll be entered for tomorrow's drawing. So congrats.
Good luck.
Yeah.
As easy as that.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as they say.
What's up, Johnny boy? We got sympathy as well.
Hey, good
the
morning.
Usual suspects.
Yeah, we got a new list of suspects, Richard, with this new time slot. It's pretty exciting.
Good to see.
Get some newer people. Sympathy, there's sympathy there. Hello, fam. Congrats to the winners, absolutely. In Yang Joshua. Good day, good morning. You guys and gals, just let me know, sympathy, any of y'all, let us know if there's any specific tickers you want us to bump to the top of the list. I've got quite a few alerts. It's kind of an embarrassment of riches today, unlike the previous 2, 3, 4 weeks where it was real thin on my top setups over here. So I got quite a bit of stuff, so don't hesitate. If you guys want us to bump something to the top of the list, let us know. Without further ado, we'll just jump into some of these.
Before we do that, I was actually looking for a short in crude oil, and now it just dropped More than
Well,
a percent in like literally 2, 3 minutes. I don't know what's going on there.
what's that? Look at that. It did bounce into a 4-hour daily demand zone.
Yeah, that literally happened while we were chatting here now. So
Yeah.
one, two, I
Oh,
think it
wow.
was
Look at that.
0.79% down anyway on the day, and now it's down 2.6%. And that
Woo.
literally happened over a few minutes. So I wonder what's going on there. Is that some sort of news event?
Yeah. Let's
Does
see
anyone
here.
in the chat know what happened there? Let us know.
Yeah. Ukraine agrees to terms of peace deal. Wow.
Ah,
So that just flashed on the screen. Look at
aha.
that.
Well, I was
Now
on the
that,
right side of the direction. I just obviously didn't get into the damn trade. Jeepers.
yeah. Yeah. Take a look at this, ladies and gents. I mean, there you go, right there. Ukraine agrees to terms of peace deal. That, Richard, is welcome news.
Yeah, I
That is
just hope it
welcome news.
sticks, because literally, I mean, there was talks about this before with Trump sort of brokering some sort of deal for them or with them, or and then it didn't happen. So let's hope it
Yeah.
sticks. Something comes of
That's
this.
that's good. That's good. That's awesome. I'm sure they'll probably have to look. I'm sure they'll probably have. I'm sure part of that is they have to lose some territory or cede some territory. But at the end of the day, Earth is Earth, dirt is dirt.
Yeah,
Lives, those are something that could be saved. So,
exactly.
um,
I
I
agree.
don't know all the details yet. That's literally all I saw. But I mean, I've been listening to some of the news articles and things recently. It does sound like they'll have to cede some territory. I know they won't be. What was it? They obviously won't have a way to get into NATO. I know that was one thing that they were after.
Yeah,
So we'll see. We'll see all the details. But look, for the sake of humanity and peace, that's a good thing. And yeah, that's why oil's dropping. Think about it.
100%.
Wars, I mean, oil prices love wars, as morbid as that is to say. So when you have wars going, you get all
Yeah,
these
I'll have to
spikes.
wait for some sort of bounce to try and get short. I won't short at the current level. That's just been
Right.
quite a drop. Quite a
Yeah.
drop. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it did already drop into that 4-hour demand. So as far as
We on my charts
look,
here now. I guess we're back at yours. Sorry about that.
yeah, bounced off that 4-hour daily demand, moved up, but then we dropped. So I don't think, me personally, I'm too worried about this demand zone anymore. It's already been mitigated and touched. Were you looking to buy or sell?
No, I was looking to sell.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I
Okay.
was following this entire move upward. I thought it was corrective with one more drop
Yeah.
lower. Now, maybe that drop lower could even extend even further from where it's currently trading. But I think we can get a bounce to around about 58, maybe even a little bit higher. I'll be interested in taking a short. If
Yeah.
this downwards momentum obviously continues. So I won't short it or try to chase this at the where price is currently trading. But I know crude oil really well, been trading it for years as well. This could, like sometimes gold moves, right? Just keeps on trucking in one direction and like literally give you no chance to get in. So
Mhm.
we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's not a bad looking supply right there. I mean, if it kind of curls around over the next, I would say, hour or two and then retraces. If it just pops straight up, then you'd be having a big ugly wick on the bottom showing strength again. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah, I
something
don't
like
know.
that for sure.
Yeah, we'll just have,
Apparently the euro dollar is also doing its thing,
yeah,
booming.
let's
Johnny
go
Boy
look
is
at,
saying.
yeah, euro dollar got a spike. Yeah, let's take a look here.
And then
Okay, so
young Joshua, yeah, volatility definitely picking up. It's
overhead supply up there. We did bounce into this 4-hour daily demand below. It's euro dollar is really kind of neutral for me right now as far as my top setups. So it's not really anything I'm looking, I don't think, to buy or sell at this time on a higher time frame. Now, a smaller time frame, let me double check here. So euro dollar is showing a neutral -3. So obviously, in light of the news, it's probably going to be a good idea to hang on for a little bit. But if anything, I'd be looking to sell. And we did bounce into that demand. So I would be more interested in waiting for some type of smaller time frame supply zone up in this area. So I'm actually just going to set an alert right here just to see what happens. And then we'll dig into some smaller time frames.
sorry, was that on
Uh,
the euro dollar now?
yeah, just to
Okay.
see if we get a return to this area, see if we got anything else in smaller time frames. So, yeah, there's the 1 hour. I mean, you'd basically be looking at that as your 1 hour supply. Gaps underneath, I like that.
Mhm.
Increasing volume, spread analysis candles, I like that. And then probably for this, I'd probably go at a minimum of 15 minutes. I'd probably just throw this little spot in here. That'd be about a 30-minute. So yeah, somewhere in there. It'd be interesting to see what happens when it bounces off of that area. See if we can get some type of a bearish engulfing candle, get some type of a spike. But yeah, alert set, but don't really have anything I can do right now, especially because it's probably going to be a little volatile for at least a little bit in terms of that oil news or in terms of the peace deal.
Yep.
So yeah, that changes everything for the show anyway. But yeah, we'll take
getting
a
a
look.
bit of a bounce, so I'm hopeful that we could make it or get into a trade at some stage. But I'll let you know. You do your thing there.
Yeah. And as far as the speed gauge map, nothing has changed. Everything remained the exact same as during our show yesterday. So currently, obviously, we still have the Aussie sitting at the very top. Now, look, they've got an inflation report release scheduled. Okay, the CPI. Well, now that's going to be 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They are projecting that to raise to 3.6%. So the previous reading on their inflation gauge was 3.5. So it looks like a potential 0.1% increase. So that would obviously, if that came out that way, if that came out on schedule or forecast, then that would just remain the same, 100% on the Aussie. As far as the U.S. dollar, we're showing a 67%. I didn't even look. Let's go take a look.
Johnny, so if you just follow what Tiger's doing there, he's looking through all of the sentiment analysis to basically figure out what he would be interested in today. So just keep an ear out for that.
And I'm just going to pull real quickly the U.S. heat map over here. We'll just come over here and create a new section. So this is the U.S. dollar heat map. And as far as today's info, let me go back to that. Okay, so again, we got the PPI and the retail sales. So let's look over here on the right. So the last report we had for the PPI was September 10th. So this is one of those older reports that got affected by the government shutdown. So this will be the first one we've had in a month and 15 days, it looks like. So the previous reading was bearish for the currency. Okay, so that at that time, forecast 3.3. The actual came out pretty good for our pocketbooks. Okay, but pretty ugly for the currency. So for that reading today, it's showing it's forecast for an increase. So that if it comes out true, it should be good for the currency. So that means this bearish box should go to bullish. If the economists were right, which we all know they're like the weatherman, right? They're far off at times. So yeah, that would increase the percentage for the dollar from the 66% up to at least the 70s, 71, 72, something like that. And then on the flip side, the retail sales is projected to be a bearish result because again, their previous recording was a 0.6%. They're projected only a 0.4% increase today. So where's retail sales over here? Okay, so that was a bullish release the last time. So now they're projecting this to be a bearish. So if both of those come true, it basically goes a wash because you have one bullish and one bearish. They basically cancel themselves out. I would suspect that the dollar would keep the same strength, right around the 66, 67%. So not really a whole big change on the dollar, unless obviously we get a miss. If we get one that exceeds expectations, miss expectations, then that obviously could change us around completely.
Yeah.
And then as far as New Zealand, again, that's going to be, that's actually not one I have on my heat map, I don't believe, so I'll skip that one. But yeah, New Zealand just as a currency. Let me go double check them. Yeah, so it's tied with the U.S. Again, it's a 66%, meaning 66% of their releases have exceeded expectations. And then do the math. Obviously, missing expectations would be the remainder of that. So not a whole lot to really add on that. We'll just go through the.
I just want to answer a question from is it Mitrut Viorel 5511 asking how to join the giveaway. Sorry, my throat's quite dry.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll just simply go to our Discord channel. There is a scan me QR code in the bottom right there, just in case you want to scan it with your cell phone. Some people watch these streams from their TV, so it's just a heck of a lot easier to scan with your
Yeah.
QR code. But yeah, you just simply go to the Discord channel, and you'll find a channel called I call it hashtag, but hashtag Trade Secrets. You go on there and enter the password, which again is contracts for the day, and then your email
Today's
address.
password is contracts, so remember that. Very, very important.
Yes. And then email address, and then the word Forex. So those 3 pieces of information. And we'll probably toss that up another time or two before we hop off stream this morning or this afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. But yeah, good luck on that.
Yeah,
So,
maybe Backend can just quickly drop the Discord link in the chat there, if you can, please, guys, for our viewers. We do have a Discord channel. Again, it's free to join, guys. It doesn't cost you anything. So great online community there. So please go do and check it out, join, and enter into the comp.
Yeah, as always in the chat, if you just simply go to olaprime.com, and then right here is where you click join Discord, and then you just click that, and it'll just send you right into accept an invite. As simple as that. But also, we'll probably throw the link up as well. So yeah, good luck on that. Let's get back to the top setups. So Aussie yen is still at the very tippity top, Richard. Plus 12. It's the strongest bullish score I've got. And the Aussie dollar is also on the opposite end as a quote currency for the pound Aussie on the short side. So obviously, Aussie being 100% beating expectations on every one of their reports. That's going to be the easy thing to do is just pick the Aussie dollar and pair it with a weak currency. So yeah, currently Aussie yen at the top, pound Aussie for a short on the bearish side. That's number 1 and number 2 favorite setups for me. I mean, 1A and 1B, but which one's A and which one's B? They're both the same score, just flipped on its head. NASI and the Dow, they're still up there at plus 8s. S&P is just being a mule. It's hanging out in neutral territory. So, yeah, NASI, the Dow, those tech stocks are getting a pretty good boost. Silver and gold, they're back on the list. Silver at plus 6, gold at plus 5. I'm going to see if I can't find like a small time frame entry on those here in a bit. But yeah, as far as the dollar pairs go, okay, we got the dollar yen at a plus 8, dollar CAD plus 6, dollar Swiss plus 5, and then the pound dollar as a short for the dollar strength on the bottom side. The British pound just not looking good at all right now. It's not looking good at all with their collection of data. I was just looking over here off screen. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, they're only at 28%. So last week they had some pretty negative services, PMI data, retail sales, and a neutral reading on their inflation report for CPI. So yeah, that's currently, I think, still the worst one on the list. Just taking a look over here again. Yeah, 29%. So basically, any chance we get to sell the pound, sell the euro, okay, on some swing style trades, meaning 1 hour time frame, supply and demand zones, 4 hour, or even some of the smaller time frames for an intraday trade. That's the way to go as far as I can tell. Aussie strength, pound, euro weakness, and then Canada's got some pretty good strength as well. So yeah, we'll take a look at some of these alerts here. The FTSE is still in the bearish territory, bearish signal. And yeah, let's go take a look at some of these. So Aussie yen and pound Aussie. Let's go take a look at that. Aussie yen. Still got that uptrend going on. Let's see, did we bounce into this smaller time frame demand? We're close to, I believe that's a 15-minute, if I remember right. Yeah, we do have a little bit of a 15-minute demand zone down here. If we get a little bit more of a decline, I look to take a long position on that, because we do have a little bit of a gap, okay, between those candles. Not the biggest, not the strongest, but it's a gap nevertheless. And I believe all this price action down here was pretty efficient, meaning there's no gaps. So let's go just double check that on a 5 minute time frame. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys, you can clearly see whether it's a wick or whether it's a body, you got all these candles. You look to the left, to the right, it's touching something two
Yeah.
bars over. So that to me looks pretty efficient on a that's really as small as I like to go for the most part is 5 minutes. I mean, yeah, we could dwindle all the way down to a 1 minute and look at this, and you're likely to find a gap. I just don't really put a ton of stock into it. Five is about the lowest I go. See, here you go. This is an example. So I just went all the way. Okay. And yeah, and guys and gals, just check that out. I mean, we've got a code. Let's see here, 25K. Yeah, 50% off for your 25K two-step pro challenge for Forex. So that is a code that's offered right now. Again, all that is in the Discord channel as well, and the hashtag running offers channel.
And only for 15 minutes, right?
Oh,
So
15
guys,
minutes.
go and enter that coupon code
Yeah.
if you want to claim 50% off, what's it, a 25K two-step challenge account. So that is available for you guys as well. But also enter, obviously, the giveaways, right? So maybe get lucky there. If you don't, then there we go.
That's a nice discount.
Yeah.
That's a nice one. There's some nice discounts in there as it is, but not as nice as that. So yeah, you got about 15 minutes. If anybody's wanting to jump into something right away, go jump on it. Gouge on it. But yeah, just to finish my thought on this 1 minute demand zone, I mean, look at this. This is a tiny range, and this is why I don't like to use anything typically below about a 5, unless I'm on unless price is real close. Like if price was right here, yeah, I could see myself using this 1 minute bar as a demand zone because I'm real close to it. But since price has just run away a long ways, when price comes back, I'm expecting that's gonna have lower lows and lower highs on some larger time frames. So I don't think a 1 minute demand zone is going to stand a chance. And not to mention how narrow that range is. You're talking 5 pips, for something that at that point we have to race.
I apologize. Sorry, guys.
From clear up here, almost 100 pips. So you get a 100 pip decline into a 1 minute 5 pip demand zone. That ain't got a chance. Probably just going to wick right through it. So that's why I picked that spot a little higher up for the potential demand zone and the efficiency as well. So, but yeah, I mean, you've kind of broken this structure. You've broken this structure. You've broken this structure here. Broken this structure. I would have personally liked to seen it break like this structure up here just to get a little better confirmation, but. I mean, it's broken structures as high as, let's see here, right there. Okay, break of the structure. Kind of like I drew up yesterday. Okay, I want to see this break of structure. Just showing that price is making an attempt to curl around or Chinese walk around or cup and handle type of thing, right? And then just a simple decline into demand like you see there. So we're not too far away. Aussie yen, we'll see what happens. Yeah, 7:30. So that report, the U.S. data comes out in another 25 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Even though
That's
it's
something
the
to be
dollar.
worried about. So, yeah. Johnny boy, we'll have a look at gold in just a moment.
Gold, okay. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. So yeah, that dollar reporting could very well push the yen around. Remember, the yen basically does exactly what the dollar says. Not exactly, but it's pretty highly correlated. If it's good for the dollar, chances are you'll get a opposite reaction on the yen and vice versa. So yeah, that's probably setup number one. What did I say the other one was? Euro Aussie, I think it was. Where's my goodies? Here it is. Over here. Top setups. Pound Aussie. So this would be a short opportunity. What do we got here? Okay. So a bunch of ugly congestion. Now let's take a look on a 4-hour time frame. So this is that one that I was talking about, I think, towards the end of last week. So
Yes.
double top. We got the stop losses up here somewhere for all these people that shorted here. Let's see. We've bounced in once. Let me go smaller time frames on this. Okay, there's a 1 hour supply. It's been touched. We've gotten a little higher up. I got a line up here. So what is that, a 15 minute? No, that's a 5 minute. Let's take a look at this. Might be a potential short opportunity right here. Right there. So there's my 5 minute supply inside of a newly formed zone. From the higher time frame bounce. So yeah, we've returned to there. Let me go back all the way over here. All right, so let's take a look and see what we got here. So I would want to see a break a structure at least right here. I mean,
Is that on a 5 minute there?
Yeah, this is 5 minutes. So let me see here. Okay, so RSI looks like it's pretty well following that new lower low. It looks like it's trying to turn around. Yeah, I mean, this might be a potential spot to short, but I would probably want to see a break of structure first because I do have a little bit of a 15-minute demand right here. Well, no, it's been mitigated, so we can actually go down a little deeper.
That current candle you have on there, did it peak above the previous little high there yet? The one that entered into the supply zone? Not yet,
Be
right?
over here, so not yet.
Not yet, okay. Because if it does, then we have a 5-way sequence in there, which will also be quite cool. Followed by a decline. Yeah.
Nice.
Typical topping pattern, very overlapping.
Yeah, I just wished. So this right here pretty well created a new supply zone. The problem is when price left, it did not break that structure, and that's what I'm a little hesitant about. If this little supply zone candle had made a new low down here before retracing up like it did, I'd be in this all day. But since it didn't, okay, it failed. And like I said yesterday, and probably several times, for me to want to get excited about a supply zone, like right here would be our supply zone. Okay, this would be it. For me to get excited about a supply zone, I want to see that zone take out a former demand zone or a lower underneath demand zone. At least a structure, but preferably a zone. So as you guys can clearly see, I mean, it didn't do that. It curled around before it broke this structure or this structure. So I'm just not too excited about it at the moment. I think I would still want to hold off and wait until it does break a structure, just to show some weakness entering the market. It's not always enough just to hit a supply zone, especially one like this, because at the end of the day, it is kind of out here in the middle, right? Swing high on a 4 hour, okay, swing low, kind of in the middle. It's that diddle in the middle I often use. So, and not to mention that it's just been going sideways now for a couple days.
Yeah.
3 days. Looks like 3 days at this point. So I don't know, man. I think I'm going to wait on this. I don't feel comfortable just shorting it at the moment. Yeah, the liquidity looks awesome. Yeah, the supply zone looks awesome. Big drop. It did break that demand zone. I know I've talked about this a couple of days in a row at least. But I just want to see the break of structure. It's got to start proving itself. Like right up here, for example. Turn off all my drawings. I mean, you just double bottom, triple bottom. Hell, if you're looking at this as a bottom, so that's doing the opposite. Now we're putting liquidity on the bottom side. So you guys see, I put that liquidity area up here. We're getting the same type of thing down here, except these are where people bought in these areas, and they're putting their stop losses below, which are sell orders. So we got some pretty good liquidity sweep opportunities here. It's just a little bit premature, I think, just because we haven't yet really started to roll over, turn the corner, and break a structure. So I'm going to put an alert after all that is said right here at this low point, and just wait until it yells at me and screams at me. Then I would be interested to see if we have a supply zone, a newly formed supply zone here up at this part. So I don't even care if it's there you go. There's a 3 minute one right there. Okay, that candle right there would be a nice three candle supply if it does like it's doing now. Comes down, breaks a structure or two, and then retraces. It's a complex thought. So sorry, I'm trying to dumb it down as simple as I can. But yeah, that's the
All good,
goal.
all good. Hey, Tiger, can I just quickly talk through crude oil here? So if it does set
Yeah,
up,
what
then
we got
everyone's
on
on the
oil?
same page here. So
Yeah,
crude
what we
oil,
got?
guys. I still have this downward sloping modified pitchfork. Sorry, the word almost escaped me. Which is the same as a shift. No, sorry, as a channel slope to the downside. And the reason I'm doing that is after this steep move to the upside, price did these three waves type of structures to the downside. So I'm still thinking that we could potentially be dealing with a leading diagonal. If that is the case, that will be the first of a leading diagonal, second and the third of the leading diagonal, and then maybe another move up and give us a fourth for a leading diagonal. This is extremely bearish, right? So it might still be a little bit more wishy-washy for a little bit of time to come. But considering this drop we also had now, we are getting a little bit of a pullback after price declined below this lower median line. Again, it found support at the same angle it did previously, yeah, on yesterday and last week Friday. Beautiful tag there. Now we're pulling back to that median line. So this might be an area that I'll be interested in taking a short if we do get set up there. I'm obviously watching some charts on the side here as well, just trying to, use my chart space as best as possible. And so that's crude oil. Gold,
Yeah.
I'm so bloody bummed about this yesterday. I don't know if you guys remember, I was viewing this yesterday. I was saying if we get a retouch of this median line, then we might see a continuation upwards. And during the actual session in the morning, I managed to get a few dollars on the table, get stopped off above break even, so not too much to show. And then price actually tested that, and the rest is history.
Mm.
Really strong impulsive move that we've seen back to the upside here. And the bigger picture, the only thing that bothers me about this move higher is it currently looks like a zigzag. And the zigzags are corrective, right? Unless price really starts getting going here. So if I just slope a pitchfork, and I like to use shift pitchforks over my zigzags, then look where price hit yesterday, around 2100. That's on at Eastern Standard Time. Again, midnight and then the early morning hours today. Few times couldn't break through there and has now declined again. This is typical behavior of a zigzag. That being said, though, if this is an A, this is a B, and maybe this is a C, then I think there's more upside potential on this one. Reason being, because you want 5 waves for A's, combination of zigzags for a B wave, and then a 5-wave structure for your C as well. And here on the C, it looks like we got one already, 2, 3, which hit that upper median line, maybe a fourth now. And then if we pip that upper median line again and then start dropping, then that would be very bearish for me. All right, so I'm sort of hanging on the sidelines here at the moment. We also have that data coming out about 15 minutes. So we'll have to see where things stand after that comes out. That being
Yeah.
said, this is just, what I'm seeing. It could change at any single time. Years of experience taught me that don't be too hard set on one specific bias. Be flexible. If
Don't
things
marry it.
change, then go and swing to the opposite side. Nothing wrong with that, right? And with trading, you'll be proven incorrect more often than not, right? So as long as you have the not that ego to just like say, oh, but I'm wrong and I want to be wrong all the time, then trading is not for you. You need to be able to switch. So this is why I love geometry as well. So I've got a hypothesis or a thesis that this might have been an ABC, right? Of years of studying using market geometry. Looking at this move to the upside, I think it's incomplete. I think we're still going to take out yesterday's high around 4154, maybe make it into 4160. Currently looks like that's happening, but I'll be very careful when that happens, because if it does, takes out that high without accelerating upwards and starts moving lower, then I think this ABC is done and dusted and we're going to see a bearish decline. But this is where the alternative count always comes in. I always have a plan A and a plan B. this could also be a first wave, a second wave, and this could be the next wave higher. That's probably, maybe, not probably, maybe going to do this. So it's very important to watch what price action does when it actually hits these lines. For many traders, these angular lines are invisible. They don't know that they're there, right? So majority of people would just use horizontal support resistance levels. Great, obviously cool to use supply and demand zones, all those sort of things, right? So if price were to slice through here, let's say I'm on the side here, I want to see a little bit what price is going to do. Does it reach this area on a 4 hour? Let's say it smashed through that area and starting to get really, really strong. Then I'll swing to the other count that maybe the next move higher, at least from this low, from the 18th of November, is incomplete and could actually still maybe even make it all the way back up to the 4,200 region. So, yeah, that's my view
You
on
kind of have
that.
to.
So I'm just checking.
Yeah, you were.
Sorry, guys, all of these things in the chat popping up. Yeah.
Yeah, and sympathy. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's a good thought about the time frames, guys. And that's what I love about trade and supply and demand zones. They work on every single time frame. They're just a lot more accurate on the higher time frames. That's why I trade the 4 hour demand and supply zones, daily supply and demand. I'll even flip up to a weekly from time to time. Like right now on New Zealand dollar, I'm keeping an eye on the weekly time frame, just because it's been in a longer term downtrend, which is another thing to mention. Japan is, I mean, look, the value of the Japanese yen has fallen quite a bit against most of these currencies. So there's always that talk of the dreaded I word. What's that dreaded I word?
Inflation.
Well, that too. Intervention.
Uh,
Intervention.
intervention,
I
especially
was.
when it comes to them, right? When
Yeah.
they'll just do it out of the blue.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You want to talk about a powerful trade if you ever get in one of those things. Now that's like winning the lottery, but yeah, they'll come out with intervention, and dollar yen as an example tends to like to fly 200, 300, 400 pips, right? So it's crazy. But yeah, that's something to be aware of in this time frame, because when we're looking at the dollar yen, I mean it's at some pretty distinct highs, and they do every single time it gets up here. Not every time, but for the most part, you get prices all the way up at the top. Man, they just unload and just get gigantic, massive swings. So, but anyway, yeah. As far as the 1 second,
Just quickly checking the chat here. I think, was it
yeah,
Saya that you asked something about the activation fees? I'm not 100% sure there. So, if you just fill in, when you receive the email, all the details will be in there. So, not 100% sure from my side, to be honest with you.
yeah, not either. Not either.
I'll have a
Not
look
either.
at the NAS 100 with the pitchforks in just a while, Saya. I'm
Yeah,
actually interested in getting short here on crude oil, maybe in a little
yeah,
bit. My only problem is the bloody data coming out. So I don't know how that will affect the crude oil prices,
yeah.
but it could potentially.
Um,
So we've had a steep drop lower. We're going at that bounce that I've been looking for. Uh, just because it's gone over this lower median line doesn't mean that's going to stop. It has to stop there, but that's quite often why I like to use angular lines, project them from previous areas where price sort of stopped in the middle of nowhere, like these little two highs. You see, they all came in on the same angle. So I'll give this to the upside round about until 58.25. Any higher than that, then I won't be interested in the trade short. But let's see.
Yeah, and just to finish my thoughts, Sympathy, on the
Sorry
time
about
frame.
that.
Yeah, yeah, she was asking about my software there. Yeah, it's good for any time frame. I just prefer it for the swing style trades, the ones I'm in a couple, 3, 4 days. Um, that way, I'm avoiding all the noise. But
Right.
it really doesn't matter what the strategy is. The higher you go, the better. I saw somebody post, I think, in the Discord channel yesterday. I need to quit this scalping and switch to swing trading. And I couldn't have agreed more, especially if you're newer, right? We've had this conversation a few other times,
Look, there's
Richard.
nothing wrong with scalping, but I do believe that's sort of in the realm of, the guys that got the right equipment, especially when it comes to using volume and stuff like that. The guys that trade the futures,
Volume
volume
profile,
profiles, VWAPs, and those sort of things. And then
POCs.
they obviously look at the order books and volume footprint and all those things that's giving them that edge to scalp. That sort of stuff lags a little bit when it comes to CFDs and Forex. I know it's not impossible to use them, but if you're starting off with scalping as a beginner trader, then good luck. I mean, that's where I started off,
Yeah.
and I know
Yeah.
hundreds
I
of
mean,
people that did, and it did not end well.
yeah. I mean, especially if you're fairly new. When I say fairly new, if you've been in trading for a year or less or a couple years or less, by all means, start off slow, right? Just start off slow, start off simpler. I mean, nothing about trading is easy, but it can be simple if you
Yeah,
just, avoid the heart attacks with 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 scalping. It's just a mess. Even for experienced traders. I mean, it's something I've done a little bit because I used to trade some penny stocks, which is basically the same thing, scalping, because I was in and out in 1 minute time charts, things of that nature. But yeah, if you don't get anything else from today's session, if you're on the fence on that, highly recommend just start off trading some of these higher time frames, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily,
right.
right? I wouldn't say position, like there's position trading weeks and months, but you don't really have a lot of in and out experience. You're just buying and holding, right? But
Hmm.
yeah, but yeah, but what I've seen from a lot of traders is they'll start off on scalping or smaller time frames, and so many times they finally realize, oh, this is a mess. I'm going to the I'm going to the higher time frames. It is. It's a lot less stressful, and that's not a knock at all against scalp trading. That's
Yeah,
just saying, just get your experience. Cut your teeth on some higher time frames where you can make a mistake and not blow your entire account right away like you can in scalping. So, yeah,
100%.
that's
We got
just
some
my thought.
questions there from Cherry. Sorry, I'm just lost here
Gary,
in the chat. Yeah, looks like the euro US dollar is tracing out an inverted head and shoulder on the 30-minute charts. What do you guys think?
yeah, yeah. I mean, euro dollar. It's looks like it looks like it's got some space to run. I mean, going to the top. Just looking at this thing, I mean, supply zone wise, I've already drawn one up actually. So we have got almost to this supply zone up here. I see what you mean about, yeah. That's definitely kind of a bullish move, and it's not surprising either, Sherry, because we've bounced into this 4 hour daily demand zone. Okay, we've wicked in perfectly, so that's helped push this thing up. As far as a potential play on that, if you look at the 4 hour and the daily, you're going to be having lower lows and lower highs. So if anything, I would probably be interested more so in selling this market. Um, and as far as supply zones, okay, so we have already hit a four. This is actually a 2 hour, but we hit a 2 hour supply zone up here. Okay, that pushed price down because remember, supply and demand zones, especially on the higher time frames, which is again why I go back to not the act. Well, the probability of the higher time frames working, price tends to get magnetized towards those zones, looking for those unfilled orders. This is what the banks are doing all day long. They're sitting on some of these higher time frames and saying, "Oh, I got a swing high up here, got a swing low down here. How can I manipulate price to get down there, make money on the way to that zone, and then manipulate price to bounce off of it to go to another opposite higher time frame supply or demand zone?" It's just the game they play. But yeah, as far as this one goes, if anything, I'd be wanting to sell it, but it is kind of in a little bit of a gray area because we have hit that higher time frame zone. I would expect that to push it up and at least chew into this zone a little bit, but we could potentially get a potential bounce to the south. So, there's a 1 hour supply. I think I drew up a 30-minute supply up here as well. So a potential play on this, if you get a nice confirmation, would be just to come inside of here, okay, break this structure, and then look for a new supply zone to sell to the downside. I
Crude
would
oil
definitely,
is making its move back up now again, so I'm not sure
yeah,
about what's happening there. Anyway, sorry, I just thought I'll mention that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
guys, I'm here looking left and right, looking left and right at all my screens, trying to get a trade going. So, I do apologize. I am listening to you, though, Tiger.
Yeah, no, you're good. So yeah, we've got like at least 3 time zones that I can, or time frames I can see within that one supply zone. So we get a move up there again, just get some type of a break of structure. Okay, down below this structure here, we pull back. We look for a new supply zone on a smaller time frame, 5 minute, 10 minute supply. Okay, something like that, and then we could look to short that market. The obvious aggressive approach would just be to put a limit order in by the time it touches the zone itself. But I wouldn't do it personally, just because it's already hit a higher time frame demand zone underneath, which I would suspect would have some power to push it through. But one thing I like about that area is you do have quite a steep drop off. Okay, that's a pretty steep drop right there. So that's pretty sexy look. So yeah, this could very well play out, and that's why I've already got an alert set on that, on the proximal line of that zone, because I'm going to be waiting to see what happens if we get any type of manipulation action in here. So that's definitely going to be one of my favorite setups, just to keep an eye on. As far as gold goes, I know you mentioned gold earlier. From a supply and demand zone perspective, guys, okay, obviously higher highs, higher lows. Now we have a 4 hour demand down here, and I'm actually going to delete this down here because it's already, that demand zone already worked. Okay, we bounced and hit and pushed up. So that's old news at this point, but we still have a demand right here on a 4 hour time frame. And then we got one here on a, I believe, a 1 hour or 2 hour. Yeah. Okay. So here we've got a 2 hour demand zone, but again, it's higher up. Okay. This is the origin of the strong move up down here. So that's why I'm more in favor of the this one down here. This here was a demand zone. Price pushed away, came back, touched the demand zone, and the demand zone pushed it up. The unfilled orders. So
Well, we got
that's
the data coming out in 2 minutes, by the
Two
way.
minutes, yeah. So yeah, that's old news. So yeah, this is really the play down here. I have an alert set up here again to see if I get that confirmation turnaround, that break of structure. If that doesn't work, okay, we got another one down below. So there's a couple options on gold that I'm looking at. And yeah, we've got about a minute left before that data comes out. So as far as the dollar, guys, when we have US data come out like we're about to have, I personally like going to the dollar yen to see how price reacts, because I mean the dollar yen
Yeah, maybe
it,
let's do that for the release. We'll read what's come out of that, and then again, I've
yeah,
got
well,
my eye on the crude oil charts here, so I don't want to enter
okay.
into a trade right into that number. But if I think we're going to head lower when it comes out, then I'll execute and
Yeah,
let you know.
because like my favorite play would be to buy this obvious 4 hour daily demand zone down here. But yeah, that's at this point, how many pips away is that? That is 63 pips away. So what I would like to see is price drop regardless of what the reading is, and potentially take a stab with these with this higher time frame demand, but not until I see it shake itself out a little bit. So yeah, we'll just do that. We'll watch and see what we get here in just literally a few seconds,
All right, so
and
it's
let's turn
pending.
this to a 1 minute time frame, and you guys will be able to see what happens when we get this data come out. Okay, so 0.3% on core retail sales, so that met expectations. Retail sales, bad number. Okay, 0.2% decline, so that could potentially be. All right, what do we got on these others? So now we're just waiting on the PPI numbers. So yeah, retail sales negative. Okay, a previous 0.6%, forecasted 0.4, but they actually had 0.2, so it was even worse. As far as the core retail sales, that was an actual number of 0.3%, right on cue with the 0.3% forecast. That's lower than the previous reading of 0.7, so that is well, it's less, but it met expectations. Core PPI 0.1%. Okay, so it was forecasted 0.2%. So that is a negative number for the currency. Good for our pocketbooks. Retail sales, not a good look. So yeah, all in all, guys, it looks like we had some negative. This is all going to be net negative for the US dollar. So sometimes this data is priced in. Sometimes you get violent reactions. Right now, it's just pretty well subdued. I wouldn't say at the moment anyway. I mean, we're only a minute and a half in from this release, but yeah, think about it.
Okay,
We've
I've
only
just gone
10 pips.
short on crude oil.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm going to take a stab at it, see what happens.
Stabby stab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go. But
Not a
yeah,
big
there you
trade.
go.
I'm risking like $58 here. So I think if we run to at least this previous low here, that'll be good. 1 to 2 risk reward ratio there. Let me get my
Gold spiking a little bit. That's to be expected because negative data for the dollar means typically the opposite for gold. I mean, it's not 100%,
only thing I didn't like about this is that it's
correlation.
done this long leg to the upside here, not like a nice little zigzag. But anyway, it is what it is. You don't always get beauty in these sort of things. So yeah, if this works out, I've got about a 2.3 ratio there, R&R. All right, so
Yeah, just a little spike in the gold so far. That's the thing. And yeah, the dollar yen, again, it moves 120 pips a day on average. That's the average true range. So it moves quite a bit. But as we just saw, I mean, you're not getting hardly any movement. So, going back to the 1 minute time frame. Yeah, so far it's moved like 13, 14, 15 pips. So pretty mellow. That was a pretty mellow reaction. Nothing too crazy. It's not like we jumped or dropped 50, 100 pips. I mean, it's starting to curl around at the moment. But as far as that initial bounce, when you have a huge miss, huge surprise, you tend to get big 40, 50, 60 pips spikes or drops on this thing. But so far, anyway, sitting around 15 pips. But yeah, I got that initial spike down. And ironically, look, what did we bounce into? Okay. This is just a 1 minute time frame, but you guys can clearly see it bounced right into a 1 minute demand zone. Okay, 1 minute demand zone, and then it got a big spike up. So it just goes to show you the power of these supply and demand zones, even on a 1 minute time frame. Okay, this is why I said earlier they're good. You can use them on any time frame.
sorry, I was just updating my position there for the position board. Did you get that question from Johnny, the last one?
Let me just double check here.
Tiger, what's your leg out rules in supply and demand zones? Some people say candles, some say exiting, some say decisive and explosive, and some would just say 2 follow-up candles. What's your rules?
Explosive. It's got to show me a gap, an acceleration gap. So most people call them fair value gaps. I don't really like the term fair value gap because there's nothing fair about it. But yeah, the point is you want to get a consolidation of candles. So if I go down here to this 4 hour one real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take my drawings away. So I would look at this particular zone this way. Excuse me. You have your leg in candle, which is this green candle. And then you've got 1, 2, 3 basing candles. And then you have your explosive leg out, and this candle leaves that gap. So if I just kind of zoom in a little bit, okay, your gap is going to be from the top of the basing candle to the bottom of the second candle. So we ignore obviously the leg out candle, okay, that green candle. We ignore that candle, and then you draw to the bottom of the real body or the wick, whatever it gives you. And the idea is you want to see this inefficiency created. This creates an inefficiency in the market. This is what the big banks and the institutions and the whales like to attack. Okay, sometimes they'll get the reaction from the gap itself. You got a lot of traders that like to buy and sell in gaps. But you also have traders like me that prefer to wait for the zone on the other end of that gap. Sometimes the gaps catch a bid and move trades in their favor. Sometimes it goes through the gaps and catches the unfilled orders in the demand zone itself. And I as much as I like trading the zones themselves, I'm a believer in the gaps because sometimes I'll miss a trade because the gap caught the bid instead. So, yeah, whether you trade gaps or zones themselves, really, it's just a matter of the way you see the market and your personal taste and your aggressiveness, right? I personally think it's aggressive, a little overly aggressive to buy into gaps, but that's just the way I see it. It may be different for you or Richard or something else, but yeah, as far as how to qualify the zone itself, you typically get your leg in candle. You get my rule. I prefer to only have 3 basing candles max. So like right here, you got 1, you got 2, you got 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then you get the exit leg. If you start getting 4, 5, 6 basing candles, so that's going to be these candles right here. Okay, if you start getting 4, 5, 6 basing candles, really regardless of the time frame, then it's too much time spent at that zone. Well, why is that a big deal? Because if you get if price is only consolidating for a very short period of time before it bolts off and leaves like this one, then you can guarantee there's probably a lot of traders, whales, banks that was not able to fulfill their entire order right there. If you got price just going sideways for several candles, that's plenty of time for banks and whales to get in their position, to scale into their position, to dollar cost average, however you want to call it. Okay, accumulate their inventory. But when you only give them a short period of time, again, regardless of the time frame, if you only give them a short period of time, chances are, especially banks that are trading $1 million orders, tens of million, hundreds of million, they probably don't have enough time to get their order in. Because if they put the whole order in, price would blow up right away. It wouldn't even base. It wouldn't just come up this little bit, right? It would just go flying up. It would look like an intervention candle.
Yep.
So the goal
What's
is
up, Edgar? Long time,
just give
buddy.
it a small amount of time.
Welcome back.
Edgar, hey, I haven't seen that name for a while.
Tiger, do you mind if I look at the Nazi 100 for Saya?
Nazi,
I did
yeah,
ask
absolutely.
earlier on, so you can switch to my charts, please, guys. Let me just quickly show you how I approach geometry. Forget about this channel on the bottom here, okay? And this was drawn, these channel lines were drawn after the fact, although I've had them on my chart now for mostly the duration of this second leg lower, which I think could potentially have been an ABC. I'll talk through that in just a while, but let's just first start with first things first here. A lot of traders will tell you that if you use channels, you want to choose a definite low, they need to contact or make contact with 3 or 4 areas or whatever the case might be. I don't use it like that. I want line up, for example, the most recent important all-time high, which was set on, when was that? At the end of October, right? And I want the top of that line to fall right at the top there, right? So, and this was the angle I came up with. Again, you can do whatever you want to, however you like to draw it, but that was how I set that upwards channel, right? Upward sloping channel. Contained price really, really well. Yeah, we had previous areas where price undershot it, but then again, that's not how I use my market geometry. Now, very important. A lot of traders think that if price were to break above or below, whether using pitchforks or channels or whatever, then they're not useful anymore. Well, I disagree with that. That's why I double up. I'll Control C, Control V on my chart, and using the same angle, same width of this channel, I'll then go and paste it underneath and see where price could potentially move towards, right? Whether you're shorting or looking at where support can come in. And Tiger will probably vouch with me that we were looking at an area of potential support here back in, geez, when was it? Last week even.
Nasty.
Yeah, before price came down, and it got into that area. It tagged the lower channel line, right? Very important, and this is extremely important. This is clearly still an uptrend. Yeah, we had a very, very volatile decline. What is your most common correction that you get, whether it's on a small time frame, a high time frame, whatever you're looking at, it's a zigzag, an A, a B, and a C, which I think could be what we've seen here, a very volatile one. And I would then use my pitchforks to try to figure out where the C wave of a zigzag might terminate. And where do they terminate? When they moving counter trend, which is the case bullish, they're moving lower at the lower median line. And that's how I would determine my areas of support. Right? It's got a very high degree that you'll have your C wave of an ABC terminate at the lower median line during a bearish correction. Opposite, obviously, for the opposite side around with things. So that's where I think we potentially seen the end of a correction. Obviously, guys, I don't have a glass ball. We could head lower from here again, but for the time being, I have to assume that that was it. But not just looking at the formation of what ABCs do and where they like to terminate. I like to look at different angles. The angle that's contained price to the upside, which is bullish, and then also the angle that I slope downwards attract the potential correction. And there where you got your end confluence point is where you generally see the end of corrections. But structurally wise, if this wasn't how did that A develop? And it looks like we got a 5-wave sequence there. A, B, C, well, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very volatile A, B, C. And then this one has got a little 1, 2, 3, expanded flat, third, fourth wave, and then one sharp drop lower to give us another 5-wave sequence for the C wave. So structurally wise, it all fits the characteristics of an ABC. We had a very strong bounce out of it. So this could potentially be in the bottom of that correction. Now, what happens if we see price decline very strongly from where it is currently? Then you see how it's been hitting this downward sloping median line here. I won't get rid of this pitchfork until price actually starts breaking out properly to the upside. All right, so I always have to assume that what is my plan B here, structurally wise? Well, forget that it's an ABC, then maybe if we had once move lower again, then I'll count this as a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. If that happens, then oh dear, we're in for, I think, a pretty ridiculous decline, because then you got 5 sequences to the downside. What happens after a 5-wave sequence? In this case, potentially a leading diagonal. If I have to draw that on the side here, maybe that's better. So you have a bullish move that tops, and quite often a new wave would start. You have a 1, a 2, then accelerated 3, a 4, and a 5, right? But what kicks off that new move to the downside, right? Quite often you get what we call a leading diagonal. So it is a very overlapping price structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to complete this area. Get a bounce up, and then all hell breaks loose, and you get a much sharper decline downwards. That is always got to be in the back of my head, right? So that could definitely also be an explanation of what's happening here. But for the time being, it hit those areas that I expected price could gravitate towards. It reacted from it, so I have to assume that it was the end of a C wave, of a zigzag, and that we're heading higher now. If that makes sense.
Oh, there's a bear on the screen.
Hi, how's it going?
Giving you a hug there.
Should I be waving this side?
Yeah.
No, my camera zoomed out again. Sorry, I just got to zoom back in. There we go. So that's my view on the Nazi for you, Sire. You did ask about that. How are we doing on time? We still have 15 minutes, guys.
Yeah, 15 minutes. I found a diagram that I was going to show, I believe it was Johnny, about those supply and demand zones again. So, yeah, I can show that real quick just to kind of clarify it in something that's drawn a little more professionally. Let me get this reset. Yeah,
okay.
This is the chart, Johnny, that I was talking about. So Yeah, just to recap down here, as far as demand zones and supply zones, just like it says right there, 1 to 3 basing candles is ideal. So like this example here is showing a couple, right? This example over here is showing 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's still good to trade. It's just not the best. And there's a nice little scoring system. So if you got, again, 4 to 6 basing candles is okay, but one would be the best. Now, obviously, you start getting over 6 basing candles like this example. It's just not, it's just not ideal because again, this is too much time spent at that in that basing action for the banks to accumulate or distribute all their order. Okay, this is accumulation since this is showing a demand zone example, but it'd be the same exact thing if we were looking at a supply zone with the same example. So price, think about it. Price drops, it bases. This is where they like to start getting into their order. This is where they start accumulating. Well, what happens if price leaves too quick, right? Maybe you had a gung-ho bank somewhere around the world that said, "Screw it, I'm buying a large order right away." Well, meanwhile, you got the other banks seeing this price leave. They're like, "Well, damn it, I only got in a half my order, a third of my order, a quarter of my order." So what happens is the banks wait for that retracement. So then up here is showing the strength of the leave again itself. So this is where I say when I buy into a supplier demand zone, I want to see that zone break a structure. This is what I mean. Okay, over here, think about it. You had a rally base drop. So that basing action has to get taken out because it's essentially a zone of its own. Okay, it's not drawn on here, but that's a supply zone right there. That green candle before the big drop down. So the same thing's happening in reverse. You got basing action. You got banks trying to load up. Price moves. They don't get their order fulfilled the way they want it. So they're waiting on price to return. Okay, for this demand zone, they're waiting on price to return so they can finish accumulating their order. And then finally, whenever they're happy with what they've accumulated, they just light a match and throw a fire on it. Okay, they throw that one last order in or whatever. And then that's where price skyrockets up. That's always the goal. It's not always a guarantee. But banks are doing the same things we're doing, but they just can't get in and out of an order like that. They have to accumulate because otherwise they're going to put in a tiny order relative to the size of their capital, and they're going to make peanuts. So if for them to load up, they have to accumulate, and that's the whole point of, tackling specifically zones that are at least 5 candles or less. I mean, this example shows 4 to 6. I don't really use. I mean, I prefer not to use those. I just prefer that 1, 2, 3 basic candle.
Cool. Thanks, Simon.
Yeah. So hopefully that helps out a little more thorough, Johnny.
Saya's just been asking a question to me over here. Does the time frame matter to you? Yes, Saya. Very, very important. I would like to I do perform my market geometry on higher time frames, at least a 4-hour. If it's a very messy price action, sometimes I have to go back like I did on the dollar index to maybe a daily or a weekly, and maybe even start the geometry from multiple years back, right? So it's very important that I know from a higher time frame perspective where these levels are. Now, obviously, the higher time frame you use with market geometry, the stronger you can suppose that those areas are going to be acting as support and resistance. So we can look at the Euro-US dollar, my chart quickly now. Just a very, very interesting example. Saya is looking at the Euro-US dollar. It is bouncing up to the upside back end. If you can just switch to my chart. I'm sharing the wrong screen. There we go. Euro-US dollar. Yeah. So, and I'll use a combination. Sometimes Pitchforks just doesn't want to work currently in one instrument. The price action just doesn't, conform to those angles. Then I can switch to a channel, for example. And during this decline that we've seen from the 17th of September in the Euro-US dollar, a very rough rule of thumb is to, if you want to find a low, draw from a high to a low to set the width. And you can see that when price undershot And obviously now you can use the, let's say, the center channel line as after price move below it and pulls back it as an entry to maybe get short. And where's the next area it might be gravitating towards for target if you want to swing trade, day trade? Well, the lower channel line. Now you can see price undershot that channel line. When was that? On the 5th of November. Very, very interesting. And you'll see this often with market geometry is although price undershot it, the next time it revisits that line, you've got a very high degree or probability that it will undershoot at the same distance that it did before and fall on the same angle, like it did over there. Now, clearly, I can't at that stage. I can't say are we going to continue lower or whatever. But if you were like intraday trading, yes, then I'll switch to let's say a 15-minute, a 5-minute, and trade using that zone as support. Maybe trying to get in a little swing trade for the day, or whatever the case might be. Now, with price moving back to the upside here, where's the next area of resistance? Well, I won't use these lines all the way up to, yes, too far away. If I want to have a day trade going, then again, I'll just draw with an array a line parallel to one of these channels or market geometry lines and go and paste it at an area where price sort of like stopped in the middle of nowhere, right? And that could potentially be an area of interest that price could be heading towards. So if I was long today, then I'll be maybe even trading towards that if I'm doing a swing trade, or if price gets very close to that area, at least know that I don't want to get into a long now. Maybe I'll go short or use it as a target or whatever it is that you want to do, right? So you can look at this little high over here. One could go and say like support, 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 resistance. Yes, there's been wicks above and below it a few times. It's not an exact science, but it is very interesting, especially for me, to see how price loves to trace how geometrically sort of like moves, right? The symmetry is basically what market geometry is trying to uncover, because most markets, most moves, there are generally symmetry prevalent in the underlying price action, and that can really help you to figure out, should I be long, should I be short, where's support, where's resistance, especially thinking out of the box a little bit more, because a lot of other traders will just be looking at horizontal support and resistance rather than angular support and resistance. So hopefully that helps you out there.
Great. Well, I did hop into a trade.
What did you do?
Oh, let me tell you what I did. We're just playing around with some 1 minute and 3 minute time frames, demand zones. So let me share that and we'll see what we got going on over here. Basically looking to potentially average in on this. So from the start, was looking at this little tiny 1 minute demand over here. Okay, everybody. So with the expectation on adding to it if we drop down here. So I got into a partial position here. Down here, if I go a little lower, 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minute time frame. We got a demand zone here, and then a stop loss below that. So yeah, just basically looking. You never know which zone is going to take off. I mean, think about this. This demand zone right here, that met perfectly that best signal on that diagram I just showed. One basing candle. Now it is a 1 minute time frame. It is pretty tiny, but look at that. Look how strong of a exit that was. We talk about exit strength, Johnny boy. There you go, right there. All right, that's about as strong as it gets. Got a humongous, gigantic gap, even on a 1 minute time frame. Wanted to see if maybe that could be the liftoff, but also I'm leery about zones that narrow. I mean, that's a $10. Actually, that's not even a $10 zone. That's about a $7, $8 wide range. Okay, it's not that big on a $24,800 instrument.
Yeah.
So yeah, partial position here with the expectation that we could see a decline a little deeper and try to catch some more orders. Okay. Unfilled orders catch here. I'd like to catch more unfilled orders here if it drops. So it's really as simple as that. Stop loss below all that. NASDAQ is giving a nice bullish signal for me. Again, it is a bullish 8. So that's a pretty strong score. in lieu of the retail sales and PPI data we just had come out. So yeah, the retail sales is bearish for the stock market. Okay, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the S&P, the Russell, but the PPI, which was lower, is good for the markets, good for the stock markets. So again, those two items just kind of canceled themselves out. So with Nasdaq being a +8, I just suspect it's going to remain the same. Just stay at a +8, +5 or higher is bullish. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm just looking to try to just play around, take advantage of some of this volatility we got now that we're 26 minutes into those report releases. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I'll let you
Cool.
guys know tomorrow if I fell on my face on that or if we got a few bucks out of it.
Hey, Eric, how's it going? Welcome back. We've got
Eric.
about 3.5 minutes left. Maybe I'll just talk through my crude oil trade here quickly again, if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, absolutely. See what you got on the Earl.
So we're getting a nice drop there. Did short it from an area on the higher time frame, and this ties in with the analysis I did a little bit earlier, especially Saya that was interested in how I do that or identify areas that I would like to, get into a trade. Now, obviously, we had that very strong drop there. Apparently, that news of potential, I don't know, peace, ceasefire, whatever in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. But then we had a slow creep back to the upside. Got short at 58.06. I'll probably start trailing my stop really, really soon. Not too far off targets, already moved a 1-to-1, so let's see how that goes. Probably won't see the end of it during today's session. But again, how did I find that area? Very simply, looking at the higher time frame. Just looking at the 4-hour. And looking at this pitchfork that I've used, I sloped to the downside, tracking this decline. And you guys could see that I wanted price to reverse back upwards, which it luckily did. It didn't continue, just blasting to the downside. Yeah. And where did it pull back to? An angular area that price overshot previously. It didn't stop right at, although you could probably get, I think that's where my entry actually was, right at this lower median line. So when you get what we call a zoom of a median line, you quite often get a retest or a kiss goodbye, what I call, and then continuation. So price went up. Now you see I drew this little question mark there. Where can we get up to? And it happened at the same angle of where these previous guys basically found resistance. Once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times.
Right.
And now we had a revisit of that rejection, and that's why I got into the trade. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Nice.
So we got a minute and a half left. We're going to be switching over to the futures coaches very, very soon. To everyone in the chat, thanks for joining. Let us know what you think about the new format. A lot of new names in the chat there, which is really, really cool to see. And guys, do go and participate in that giveaway. And again, congrats to those that have won the prizes from yesterday. So we'll continue doing this for the foreseeable future. And why not?
Yep. Yeah, and again, just make sure and go to hashtag Trade Secrets channel on Discord. Type in the word contracts, your updated email address, as well as the word Forex for the chance to win that. And then, I imagine we'll do the same thing tomorrow. We'll announce. So, and also stay tuned for Tony and for Adelina throughout the week. Okay, on their various shows, they're going to be doing some similar things. They're going to be giving out passwords as well. So, and just as always, like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're again playing around with the time frames again, seeing what works the best for everybody. So hope you guys will like it. But most importantly, give us your feedback. And with that, Richard, it's about time to head up out of here. We'll hand it on over.
It is. Time flight. Right, guys, thank you very much. Join us again tomorrow and enjoy the future session with the futures coaches. We'll check you tomorrow. Adios.
Adios. Take care.
Ola Prime. Trade with transparency.